Developed initially as part of the synthesizer that we've just looked at, FabFilters 1, FabFilter Micro is a simple one filter and envelope follower effect that we'll use as an audio insert on this guitar track. I'm utilising the VST3 version, and therefore I can leave Micro to determine whether I'm using a mono or stereo audio file for the signal. As you can see, even though streamlined, the user interface is still elegant and intuitive, but most of all looks like all the other FabFilter plugins. We get the main interactive filter display that we use to view and adapt how we set the filter controls. And those filter controls are here, as usual, and simply provide us with level, speed, frequency, peak and response. We have MIDI learn at the bottom left, and input and output options at the bottom right. The presets and undo, etc. are at the top right. Now, just in case you're watching this tutorial out of sequence within this course, I'll not assume you know what the parameters are. I'll briefly explain them. I'll start with the right-hand options. The largest dial is the frequency dial, and it's with this that we set the filter's cutoff frequency. If I adjust it, you'll see the interactive display reflect this, and as we know by now, it's tied to the response and peak. And in fact, the smaller peak dial adjusts the filter's resonance. Again, dialing this around displays above. Alternatively, left-click and drag on the display. If this is subtle, a warm characteristic tone is produced. But as you take it to its more extreme settings at maximum, then the filter self-oscillates at the center frequency. These two response options allow you to choose between low and high-pass filter shapes. Although, like other similar FabFilter plugins, we don't get a slope option here. It's fixed here at 12 decibels an octave. Moving over towards the left now and these two dials, well, this is the envelope follower section, as indicated by EF there. If you want to reset this and switch it off, click the reset button at the top of the level dial here. This level dial determines the amount of filter frequency modulation. Dial it anti-clockwise for negative modulation and clockwise for positive modulation. And as the reset button position indicates, at the noon position no modulation will occur. Finally, we have a speed dial that dictates the speed at which the envelope follower responds to variations in the input signal. If you have it set fully at the anti-clockwise position, the envelope follower will respond very quickly to input signal changes. Whereas, as I'm sure you can work out, dialed fully clockwise will mean the envelope follower will be much more delicate and not as quick. The noon position is a good starting point, but is of course dependent on the type of audio fed into it. In use, you'll see this tiny light illuminate, as it indicates how much filter frequency modulation is occurring. And then at the bottom right, you'll see the input and output gain options. Clearly, you can adjust the input signal level prior to entering Micro, whilst output does exactly that. It adjusts the output level of the Micro process signal here. So that's what Micro offers in terms of controls. So I'll finish now, and in the next tutorial, we'll listen to it in action.